the huge difference between Western, to be very broad, Western concepts of fighting and Thai concepts of fighting. Like as you mentioned strike, blocked, da da da, and then you learn how to move. In Thailand, you learn how to move first. There's so little correction in Thailand. The reason is, I believe, is that when you correct somebody, you tense them.
Mm.
So the number one thing, and they learn to fight very early in life, 6, 8, 10, 12 years old, is movement and relaxation. The
Mm.
exact mechanical proper action is not important because you want to build from a bedrock of relaxation and movement, which actually leads to eyes. So you get
Mm.
your eyes and your balance and your footwork relaxed, natural first, then you start building strikes and defenses on top. In the West, we think very, very differently. A lot of it is because martial arts we extract from other cultures,
Mm.
like karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai now, not boxing. Boxing actually understands eyes quite well,
Mhm.
but we basically create mechanical things that we correct and correct and correct, end up producing lots of memorized patterns, and we don't end up building eyes. And the one thing that Thais have over any fighters that they face almost always is their eyes. They're fighting. You can see this with Sanchai fighting not bad fighters on Thai fight. The lights are on for him and the lights are off for the other fighter. And the other fighter could be a decent fighter.
Yeah, I was just about to mention this. I loved the recent breakdown you guys had on the Muay Thai Bones
Oh,
podcast about Senchai. You said the thing, I've been thinking this for years. Like, I've been watching him and thinking, this is so cute. He starts off, and then if the opponent is sort of friendly, he gives him
yes.
kisses, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's just playing. And if the opponent pisses him off, he goes and
Yeah.
destroys these people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the main difference, this is a beautiful example for like eyes, is I can see what you're about to do. I can see your
Yes.
tendencies. And so I'm
Yes.
relaxed because I'm fighting and you are in slow motion. Think about this. If
Yes.
you are in half the speed than a normal human, how relaxed
Yes.
would fighting be, right? I could see everything coming
Very.
a mile away, could get out of the
100%.
way. And now think for most people who don't have eyes, everything is 3 times the speed, right?
Exactly.
It's not even normal speed.
Exactly.
You're in the ring and the adrenaline and everything makes everything so overwhelming. So now you're fighting like Flash Gordon or something, so somebody that moves at superhuman speeds. And all you can do is be a tense ball and hope this
Yes.
is going to end okay for you, right? And
Exactly. Very much so.
and with Sanchai, who's like a legend in Muay Thai and a very funny and interesting guy, but like somebody that now fights, is an older fighter, but now fights kind of younger Western fighters that are not on
Yes.
his level, and is more
Yes.
like I don't know, show fights, shorter round, with 3 round fights or something like a
Yeah.
shorter thing. You can see this nowhere better than that because you see people that are younger, stronger, more muscular, and bigger than him,
Yeah.
and what you see is you see him so relaxed and them so tense because he can see them move in slow motion. So there's no reason
Exactly.
their muscles and their strength is irrelevant because they'll never hit him, with
Yes.
anything.
It's very
And
true.
yeah, and you see that they're better than anywhere else. Like what big of a difference it makes to be able, and what our eyes to a big degree is being relaxed enough to be able to focus on perceiving the other person and not being
Mm.
so much in your internal fear, adrenaline,
Mm.
uh, that you're in your own mind, and so you can perceive less, right, of what's really going on.
It's not only that, it's the exposure to patterns that allows
Mm.
you to recognize how that pattern is going to unfold before it even unfolds. Sylvie trains with Karahat, who kind of was Sanchai before Sanchai, to me, the most artful fighter ever in Thailand. And he started talking to her about like, as soon as you see the weight shift onto the front foot, you already know half the body is no longer going to act. This is
Mhm.
not a calculus. This is just a feeling. You're like, I'm safe on this side as soon as there's a shift of weight. That comes from just seeing. It's like when you know a language and someone starts talking in a certain way, you already kind of know what they're going to say. You can
Mm.
almost finish their sentences. So it's a familiarity with the body fighting in space also that isn't, there is nothing more important than that actually, but it's hard to grow,
It is.
especially when you start later.
Yeah, I think you don't, like, as children, obviously we learn much faster, much more intuitively, also much more relaxed, right? Children are much less inhibited by ego, by having an identity, by worrying about the future or about the past. They're much more present in
Yeah.
the way they experience life. So they're great learning machines, right? And then later in life, I think there's also not a clear path on how to learn this. There's not a 1, 2, 3 step. There's things you can do, but you don't know how long it's going to take for you to start getting there or to grow that part of it.